I think at one point, every single person in life has felt behind. That you have this ultimate potential, but you're only 50% or 60% of the way there. And if only you could get to 10 out of 10 and really apply yourself in all areas of your life, then you would be set. You would be financially where you want, you would have the relationship of your dreams, you would have the body that you want, and most importantly, you would feel fulfilled, happy, not alone. And I say this because I know this all too well, and matter of fact, I feel this on a regular basis. But in today's video, I'm going to show you my monthly review process. Now, this is going to be a bit of a vulnerable YouTube video for me because I'm going to share with you all of the intimate details of my life, but I also know that I need to lead from the front so that you too can change your life. This monthly review process regularly brings me back to knowing exactly what I need to do in all areas of my life, and also what I don't need to do, how I remove toxic habits, people, thoughts, etc. Now, before we get started, I want to start with the foundation, which is that you will never be the perfect person. You will never be 10 out of 10 at all times. There is just way too much to handle in your life for you to be at your full potential at every waking moment. And some days, some weeks, some months, you will falter, whether this be with your habits, finances, exercise routine, or maybe even relationships. And that's okay, and has everything to do with not staying stuck, being able to get yourself out of the rut, and being able to get yourself out of any funk that you may be in. So if you expect to become some freak of nature who's perfect at all times, just godly human being, then this video is not for you. Because quite frankly, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I fuck up, and I fuck up often. But this is where the Pareto principle comes into effect. See, I don't expect myself to be 100% on at all times. I don't view it as this needs to be a perfect week, what I like to call sprint style thinking. I have marathon style thinking. I'm not thinking in the next day or the next week or even the next month. I'm thinking in the next 10 years. And sure, if I mess up a day, a week, or maybe even a month, but over 10 years, I was consistent at least 70% or 80% of the time. This is how you make progress. This is how you make sure that in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, that your efforts compound. So without further ado, let's get into my monthly review process. So I'm going to take you through this step by step so you guys can see how I've jotted notes here. Keep in mind, there's some confidential information around especially consulting that I'm doing for some businesses. So I've redacted this in the document, but let's go through this. So the first thing I'm going to do when I'm going through this document, I am really just brain dumping. Everything that's coming to mind, I'm just going to be throwing it out onto paper. Okay. There's no part of this where I am overthinking it. I just answered the question. Okay. So what has worked versus what hasn't so far. And I put it into multiple categories. So there's marketing, finances, operations, sales, mindset, delivery. This is for business, but in general, again, anything else that comes to mind, I'm just going to throw it onto this piece of paper. So video quality has gone up, especially with the editors that I've hired, planning through weekly content snapshot, and then scripting using ChatGPT and templates I have. What hasn't worked is the system, having to record YouTube videos separately, doing Twitter posts separately, trying to optimize 10 different things, which means that none of them are optimized. If I'm being real with myself, the most impact will come from a popping YouTube channel, and that's it. It's the best platform, and that is my main focus. So that's for marketing. Finances, really well. All of my debt is paid off. 30K plus positive so far. It's going to be 40K plus soon in my bank accounts. Old mentor is asking me to invest into his business. However, this feels like a big opportunity, but some questions need to be answered, and it might be something I do just for the sake of the post / marketing behind it. I can also increase my income by asking for an override as a lead consultant for business, which will not be named. This will increase it by 1 to 3K every month, and I would have more incentive to push harder for XYZ, okay, within the business. Operations, not smooth, but towards the beginning of the month got way better, more defined, especially with the videos. Sales, non-existent right now because I've shut down all of my offers, but I have clarity on what I want to offer. What I'm going to be doing is a book so that everybody understands my process that I've worked with clients, and then to a Google Doc plus sales through text for a mid-tier offer anywhere from $497 to $2,500, and then opening up my high-ticket one-on-one mentorship back up, but it can only be with people who want it on the back end. It's not going to be a front-end acquisition thing. Mindset, much more stable, especially with morning and night routines. Weekends are where I fall off hard. I stayed up until 1 a.m. last night, which then bleeds into how I feel the next day. I also binged food on weekends and let go. This is mostly a conditioned response of the past, very much a fuck it mentality. I need to let go of weekend splurging / letting go, porn and fapping, just for the sake of YouTube not banning me here. Eating really bad, social media wasting time. I need to dumb down my iPhone so that it's only for filming. Then the rest I give to my editors to overtake the social media posts so that I don't even have to worry about it. Delivery, right now, very inconsistent. My course 2.0 version is not created. My book, I haven't even started it. The thing in the business that I'm consulting for, it's created but not optimized. I have consistent scripting, filming, editing, and uploading is not really done because I have like 20 different platforms that I'm trying to fix. So this is not good. But this will be fixed with YouTube being the main focus and then repurposing that into 15 short form clips, utilizing my B-roll for viral content, and then all of this is going to be taken care of by my editors. Okay. The other way that you guys can do this within business is by going through the 5 pillars. So awareness, authority, lead generation, conversion, sales, delivery, ascension, upsells. I like this version better because it's like a mix of myself and then also anything that I'm doing career or business wise. Then you go into the anxiety list. This is very important. Just the first things that pop up in your head. You might not have these as massive anxieties, but the whole point is, again, you're just throwing notes onto a piece of paper. You're brain dumping. So do not overthink this. So the first anxiety list, first thing that came to my head was, what if the YouTube path doesn't work? All right, this can be fixed with creating better concept videos. For example, I'm going to be creating a video where for 7 days, I'm going to partake in all of the toxic and negative habits and then just document that. That's going to be a really fun YouTube video. And then the second series of that video is going to be 7 days of self-improvement, all of the self-improvement habits, so that you guys can see the difference of how it's affecting me mentally, physically, all of these things. And then you guys can apply it in your life as well and see how easy it is to actually switch over to self-improvement mechanisms. So I'm really excited for videos like that. Some other videos I was thinking of was doing, 7 days of being Muslim, 7 days of being Christian, 7 days of being Jewish, right? Just self-improvement, spirituality type of videos. So I think if I start doing a lot more stuff like that, then the YouTube channel is going to continue to grow. What if I never grow on social media? This can be fixed by utilizing ads, putting aside a budget to grow by 1K followers every month, which is going to be around like $1,000, and then just using boosted posts to do that. What if my relationship fails after all of this time? This can be fixed by being very clear in our values, vision, and mission, and making sure we're on the same page, and this comes down to communication. What if I never get to my physical and mental peak? I need to hire a holistic coach. I need to get my gut healed, need to do a stool test and make this a priority. I've had the stool test given to me by my doctor for the last 3 months, and I just have never done it. I never made it a priority. Getting my gut healed with a coach, using those results, nutrition dialed in, no more sugary foods, and hitting the gym properly at least 3 times a week. And then I put a plan here that I didn't think would really care about sharing here. So that's that. You go over just anxiety lists and then also career first. And again, jot down all of these notes. You're just brain dumping. The second part is going to be life review, especially around friends, relationship, money, family, self, travel, and time. Okay, these are the main areas of your life. So let's go through this one by one. Friends, current 6 out of 10. So you give yourself a rating. There's no system for this. It's just how you feel. Okay. So my relationships with my friends, I feel like is at a 6 out of 10 right now. And what would it look like if it was at the score you want it to be at? So for me, it's a 9 out of 10. And so I wrote here, I have friends, but I'm not consistently setting up plans with them, especially for weekends or even during evenings when I'm free. This leads to me feeling lonely sometimes. Friends list, I jotted down all of the friends that I have that are really close to me, and then tons of people online, more subsect of people from these people and also online people. And then I wrote down those close to me that I can hang out with during the week at the gym. I wrote down a couple of names. Those I can hang out with on the weekends. I wrote down a couple of names who may be a little bit further away from me. And then everyone else can be Zoom text, at least one new person per day that I speak through on text. Okay, so this way I can get to that score of 9 out of 10. Okay. And again, this is just very rough notes. When you're doing this monthly review, just as a caveat, this might not be the perfect plan, but you're just, again, brainstorming and brain dumping. Okay. So let's go relationship. I put current 6 out of 10. I want this to be back at a, 10 out of 10. I don't think I've ever had it. I've had it close to a 10 out of 10 before. I don't think there's ever going to be perfection in everything that you do, like we spoke about, but I want to aim for it. So we're a lot more aligned after our last talk. She has been more affectionate and more open to touch and sexually open. And I've been meeting her needs as well. I think I'm going to leave this blank for keeping respect in my relationship. And aside from that, just less use of the phone, but I have to lead that myself, right? So I think being more present within my relationship and just being more physically open and physical touch in the relationship is really going to get it to that 10 out of 10, but I have to be the one who actually leads those things. I also don't feel aligned with our values, vision, and mission in our relationship as of recent. We haven't talked about this in depth. As of recently, I want to feel a lot more aligned in terms of how do we define our relationship in terms of the values that we seek, and then what's our vision? Like, where is this actually going in the 5, 10, ultimate vision 25 years from now? And then what's the mission in the short term? Okay, so think of vision as super, super long term, and then mission is in the next 1 to 3 to 5 years, what do you want to actually accomplish? And all of this should be based off of the values. This is just for yourself as well. You should always understand just for yourself what your values, vision, and mission is in life, and you should also do this with relationships. So that's the relationship portion. Money, I put currently 4 out of 10. I want to get this to a 10 out of 10. My net worth is about 850K currently, especially with the 2 properties I have and having paid off a lot of that. But I'm not where I want to be cash-wise, and I'm not where I want to be with more investments. So this is going to open up a lot more potential investment opportunities, especially if I'm at 100K saved up in my bank accounts. Need to max out my TFSA and RSP, and then utilize the rest for investment potential. Keep working, especially with the consulting for the big businesses I'm doing. Get overrides from consulting, fix problems in this business that I'm helping to level it up. Family, currently, I feel like this is a 2 out of 10 in my life. I want this to be at least a 7 out of 10. I barely talk to my family. I also haven't been visiting them as often as I want. I need to visit them every Sunday. This is specifically my parents. And then throughout the week, reach out to my sisters, group chat, and see what they're up to and set plans at least once per month. Okay? Then I went to myself. I feel like currently I'm about a 6 out of 10. I want this to be a 10 out of 10. So I wrote here, been eating inconsistently, not tracking at all. I keep justifying, well, let me get back to a good diet first, then I'll track. But this is faulty thinking. Track from the beginning, get a portable food scale, which I actually purchased right after writing this. And when eating out, only cooked meat in butter plus veggies. That's it. Maybe bottled water, nothing else. No dessert, no this, no that. I need to really hone in over the next few months with my diet. Secondly, watching porn and doing the deed, especially on weekends. This stops today, no more. If I ask myself, do I want to reach my 10 out of 10 potential? This stops me from my 10 out of 10 potential. So it isn't even a question anymore. I delete Twitter and no longer watch porn, and that's it. So over the last month, I figured out my phone actually, if I show this to you guys, has a passcode where I don't know the passcode. I actually had one of my friends, Austin, put a passcode into my phone, and it blocks any websites that have porn. So this was never a problem. Even if I press allow website, it asks me for the passcode and I don't know it. As you can see, there's 2 failed attempts. So this is not something that was a problem for me. But over the last month, I realized Twitter is full of porn. And so I started to fall into that habit over the weekends. And this is by far one of the worst habits, just destroys your brain. I regularly talk about it, so I have to practice what I preach. I work out like twice a week at most, then walk daily. This is just not enough. It needs to be daily walks, 3 times a week cardio, so really 2 times a week, one of them being conditioning, daily stretching and mobility, and then 3 times a week lifting. And this is really 1 to 2 hours a day max, and I have the time to do it. And I haven't made time to do my stool test. After being vegan, I've made a video on this, but it really messed up my gut. I have spent a lot of money and effort to heal my gut over the last, 3-4 years. It's gotten a lot better than when I was a vegan, but it's still not where I want it to be. I still have bloating here and there. I still have gut issues. So I need to just finally do the stool test. So I do this tomorrow, which is actually today. It's supposed to be today. And today I will make sure I have saran wrap and I prepare the steps for it tomorrow. I'm not going to get into the details here. It's kind of gross, but essentially I'm going to get this done so that I can send it off to the lab. Travel, currently 5 out of 10. I want this to be a 10 out of 10. I got a trip to Dubai coming up next week, and then Florida soon to look at potential properties that I want to invest in. But in general, I just need to travel more. When I was a dating coach, I used to travel, literally every single week just to be able to do boot camps. And I completely stopped this for the sake of consistency. But I realized travel is a huge part of my life. I need to do quarterly short travels and trips with my girlfriend. Then I need to vacation, like a long vacation every 6 months. And that's how I keep my performance up and keep my performance going. Time currently a 6 out of 10. I want to get this to a 10 out of 10 so I free up my time. And I just need to free myself from client work, doing one-on-one calls from previous clients who have paid me, who I still have to do a lot of client work with. So I'm going to get those done. But any consulting clients, anybody who comes forward to want to do client work with me, I'm going to make sure my team handles this. Okay. So no reason for me to work with clients if they're not super high level and don't have a huge chance of renewals. Okay. Criteria for this is going to be over 50,000 followers, high engagement, has more leads than they know what to do with, 50 new convos a day, or strictly B2B clients. Okay. Any other high level clients can go to this person who shall not be named, which is my CSM. Okay. Then for QC, I need to teach ChatGPT everything we have in the course. I feed all of the transcripts, Google Docs. Then I feed it all of my previous advice that I've actually given CSMs from the Google Doc. Then I start feeding in call transcripts and then have it spit out a clean version of advice to each CSM. This will make sure I get QC done in less than 30 to 60 minutes, and I free up all of my day to focus on things that shall not be named for the consulting that I'm doing. Growth and scale versus profit consistency versus stabilization and enjoy. So what does this mean? This is where you're going to select where you're at in your life. Are you at a stage in your life where you want growth and scale? Are you at a stage in your life where you want to enjoy profits and have consistency in profits? Or are you at a stage in your life where you want to stabilize, enjoy the fruits of your labor, maybe take a little bit of time off? So I do kind of like a problems, opportunities, and focus, kind of like a SWOT analysis, and I select where I'm at. So I'm at a growth scale stage. Problems are not enough growth on IG plus YouTube, not enough personal accountability. Opportunities, set aside budget for growth, utilize assets in life, and create experiments/series for videos. And the focus is going to be my YouTube and personal growth this month. Then I go, how do I get there? 4 models you can think of, which is logical, feels good, excited, and opportunity. Logically, what makes sense? Feels good, what makes sense? Excited for, what makes sense? And what's the opportunity here? Now, I've already written all of this up as I've done the brain dump, but this essentially gives you a second chance for you to be able to look at all areas of your life and really go into detail. And then last but not least, what choice did you make and what is needed? You chunk it all down. I've already put this up here, so I just skipped this and I went directly into the second section, which is what changes need to happen? What's the big picture here? And then I wrote down everything that I put here, but I looked at it again and I created a checklist. Every single thing that I essentially need to do. So for example, no corn, delete Twitter. So I deleted Twitter immediately off of my phone. And then the second thing was track food and buy a portable weight scale. I bought it and it actually came today to the front of my doorstep. Okay. The next steps is going to be all of these things that we talked about. And when I'm creating this checklist, I'm essentially just throwing all of these things into a checklist. And then I go through the checklist again and I ask myself, what's more important in terms of priority? And I just go through every single thing and I reprioritize it. So that way, at the end of the month, if I've done, all of this stuff and I never got to this stuff, I know that I've still made progress. I know I've still done things to make sure that I'm moving forward in my life. Sure, I may not get to everything. This is what we talked about. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be 10 out of 10. You just need to make sure that you're making progress. Okay. And so this reprioritization allows you to make sure that you're making progress. So I'm not going to go through this again. I already shared everything within my life here. So this is just basically reprioritize. And then I create a checklist task. So little one-off tasks that I need to do. Again, I just brain dump all of this down and I do a checklist. And then the last thing is purchases I want to make. So I also do a brain dump of all of the purchases that I will just want to make in my life. And then the very last step, which is the most probably important step of all of this in the monthly review process, is that you enroll other people into this. Okay. You let your significant other know, you let your friends know, you let your family know, you let your mentors know, you let your team know. Anybody who really needs to know. You don't have to let 100+ people, the whole world know. The people who are closest to you, who you feel like you need to let know with anything that involves them, this is where you come, you shoot them a text, you shoot them a message, you let them know. So I haven't done this yet. I'm going to be seeing my girlfriend very soon. So I'm going to let her know. And then I'm going to be seeing some friends soon. I'm going to let them know. I like to try to do it in person as much as possible. Just kind of like my plans, what I'm going to be doing with my life, to enroll them into it so that they understand. But if you can't do it in person, then you just shoot over a text message or a voice note and you enroll the most important people into your life plan. And that's it. I do this every single month. And anywhere where I have faltered, whether it be with good habits, bad habits, certain areas of my life, I put a plan into place to get started immediately within the next 24 hours. The key here is that this inspires you to take fast action, because the faster you take action on your own advice, the more self-trust, respect, confidence, and certainty you will build in yourself, which will build on its own momentum to continue to take action. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click subscribe. Comment down below any questions that you have. And if you want this Google Doc, then go ahead to my Instagram. It's in the username in the description and message me the word review and I'll send it over to you.